So welcome back everyone to another episode of Chat with Dan here. Joining me today, what can I say? We have the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only, the incredible Emily. Emily, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. A better way to have an incredible, super badass day than to be chatting with someone as badass as you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. 1,000%.
There you go. Love it. Now, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. But also in the description below, you're going to find all of Emily's social media. Let's share some love and let's find out why she's super badass. And without further more, let's jump in. When you strip away roles, credits, and expectations, tell me who you are at your core.
That is such a difficult question. I love that question. I think I've always had a really strong sense of self, but it's always been really hard for me to give a specific answer to that kind of question. I think it's because I feel like I'm always changing and evolving, and I'm always finding new parts of myself that exists and discovering new things. I think I'm still a little kid inside though. I think there's still a little child inside of me with childlike wonder. That's definitely something I've maintained throughout my whole career and just life thus far.
That's pretty cool. And early in your acting journey, what did you believe your worth was tied to?
Early in my acting journey, I started acting when I was 16, 17. And at that point at time in my life, I think my worth was very much tied to how other people perceived me. And at that time, there was a lot of I think I had a lot of parts of myself, and I was discovering that I felt like I was just contradicting myself, being a teenager and growing up. But I was so determined with acting. I'd always been really determined just in life, but my determination with acting was just a whole beast in itself. And I was like, this is like my train. This is my journey, either hop on, hop off, but I'm on this journey. This is going to be my career. I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to be an actor. So join me or don't join me, but that's where I'm going. But even with that, I don't think that I'd still fully stepped into my own power. And I think that all the rejection was still very it was hard. I was really affected by it, whether it was in my career or my personal life. I really took all the rejection to heart at that time.
Mm. And how did that impacted you emotionally?
It hurt. That was painful. It sucked. It was important for sure, but I think it felt so personal. Every no that I got, it felt like I was the problem. And so my first instinct was to search for the reason in myself, what was the problem with me. And I definitely had to learn really quickly that it's not that deep. And I needed to grow some thick skin and take those rejections and just move on. I mean, I guess I started to try to change my perception of it. It wasn't necessarily it was somebody else's success. The role wasn't meant for me, but that was the role for someone else. And that was it wasn't even just my failure, it was their success. And I want to celebrate the success of other people as I would hope they would celebrate my success. So I don't know, just trying to half glass full it, I guess.
And at this point, how are you able to handle rejection? Right, as you mentioned, nobody likes being rejected. So how well have you kind of been coping with those feelings to not let yourself, being dragged or feeling bad for the rest of your day?
I mean, I think it's a lot of it for me is just accepting in the moment. I give myself a moment to feel it and be like, okay, that didn't feel good. I don't feel good about that. That's sad. And then honoring those feelings because they're valid, but then letting them go because I know that they're also not going to serve me. And then it's on to the next thing. I just kind of out of sight, out of mind, feel it, take it, let it go, let it out because life's too short to feel like shit.
Which sometimes it can be easier said than done, but I totally get
Oh,
it.
yeah. Definitely
Mhm.
easier said than done, especially if it's a role or an opportunity that, really had my heart just set on. I really, really thought was gonna happen. It's hard. It's I don't think rejection's ever going to be easy. I think it's just finding the ways to manage it.
What has been your worst audition ever?
My worst audition ever. Oh shit. Okay, there's two that come to mind. One of them was the first time I went in. I was very, very early in my career. I think I was 16. And I went in and I was like, "Oh, I have it memorized. I don't need the sides." And I just completely blanked. And I was like, "I'm really sorry. Can I actually have the sides?" And then I kept messing up words and the character's name, my own character's name. And I got back to the car. My mom drove me because I was yeah, I think I was, like, 15, 16. My mom drove me, and I was just sobbing. I was so mad at myself for blowing it. And the other one, this one's just funny, but I was, like, like, a PSA audition, and, it was about, like, buying bootleg electronics online, and she hands me this iPad, and it's, like, a brand new iPad. She's like, "Okay, so in the scene, like, pretend it, like, lights on fire and react to it." And so, of course, my first instinct is just to, like, chuck it across the room, but I was like, "Oh my god, I can't throw her iPad across the room, it's gonna break and she's gonna fucking hate me." So so I'm like, and I just, like, place it on the desk and I'm like, "Ah!" And we just looked at each other and she was like, "Thank you for your time." And I said, "Thank you." And I was like, "That's not I'm not gonna book that role."
Yeah. I mean, it's the way that it is, whenever we're starting out, or even though we've experienced, sometimes we have like kind of those like those flops, but it's just part of the experience. I sometimes say in order to feel myself much better. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, exactly. I think just,
um,
like, finding we're all human. Finding the humility, the humor in it, just it happens, it's meant to happen. If every audition went perfectly, life would be boring and we wouldn't have stories to tell about bad auditions.
yeah, yeah, that is why I always say that if life would always be happy and smiling and all of that, you wouldn't be able to really enjoy them, as
Mhm.
in real life that sometimes you have miserable days when you have the good days. They actually feel pretty good. But I do think that we need those kind of moments, those awkward, those bad, those missteps, whatever mistakes, whatever you want to call them, in order to get better at it and to feel good whenever we have like a small win going on.
1,000%. It's all
Yeah.
sometimes it's the small wins that really are, like, the most important ones.
Yeah, because if you keep winning all the way, at some point you're not gonna be taking it. It's gonna be boring at some point. Let's face it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000% agree.
Now,
Mhm.
how did financially uncertainty shape your mindset during the early years of acting?
Financial uncertainty. I was hungry. I was hungry for work. I was, like, hungry physically. I cannot stomach eating baby carrots and hummus to this day because I ate so many baby carrots and hummus when I was first living here. I was working a full-time job when I was 18 and just trying to get every possible job I could get acting-wise, and a lot of them didn't pay or they paid very small amounts, but it was so worth it, just to be on set. I feel so, so privileged to sit here now and be able to say that my passion is paying my bills because that is I mean, that's the dream, that is no small feat, and it's definitely not something I take for granted. Even to, like, right up before I was working full time with acting, I had, like, 3 survival jobs. I would, like, work at a restaurant for 8 hours, and then I'd go home, and I would change, and I would go work at this, like, after hours place, sometimes till, like, 6 in the morning, and I'd squeeze in auditions anywhere I could, and then I would, I had this one job, and it was actually really fun because I was doing, like it was kinda like go-go dancing-ish, but I was working at this EDM club in the arts district, and I would be on the speaker next to the DJ just hyping up the crowd, and that was a really fun job 'cause I love to dance, and I love that kind of music, but, I mean, I think it was so important to have those times and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to pay my rent and, like, I don't know if I can this month, but I have to find a way to pay it," and I always did. But it was so important to shape that I don't know, just so I can sit here today and be like, "Yeah, I did that. I'm really fucking proud of that." I'm also so grateful I'm not doing that anymore and that I'm acting, and even a bad day on set is still better than, like, working any of that. But it definitely makes me appreciate just the journey itself.
And did all of those experiences, all the people you met during the different type of jobs you have, like all of that, did that somehow help you to shape either a character or to picture a scene in your head for an audition, something like that?
Definitely. Absolutely. I think I met so many, like, interesting people, just, like, working with different people or just, like, customers or, random people I meet through these jobs I was doing. It's so important to just put ourselves in, like, all these different shoes and environments as actors because people watching is so fascinating, and talking to strangers is so fascinating. And I think sometimes having a job, like a survival job like that, where you're talking to people, it definitely, it like forces you to connect with people and like learn about people. It's so so valuable. It's definitely helped me with roles, and it's part of the human experience.
And with acting at the same time with the previous jobs you have and everything, what are some of the things that you have learned about people? You know, about society might be at this point, like,
I think I've really learned that so often, like, people really aren't what you think they'd be. I mean, for better or for worse, but most times I feel like for better, you people have these like crazy, crazy stories. The way that people end up, it's like always blown my mind that we meet anyone, that like there's so many people on this like rock floating on a planet. What are the odds that like I'm in the same like room with this other person having a conversation about, like, a childhood snack. Yeah, or, like, some random ass conversation. It's so, so cool that we get to meet anyone, and kinda sad that we don't get to meet a lot of people because there's just so many people in this world, you know? We can't meet every single person. But I think that's why art is so important too, is because it allows us to connect with people even if we never meet them face to face.
during with your whole acting career, was there a moment when things looked successful from the outside, but felt heavy from the inside?
Absolutely. I had just wrapped my first, like, big production, and I mean, I was, like, on location for 2 months filming. I was working with these, like, big established, like, Hollywood industry people, and it was a fantasy themed show, and I've just felt like I was living in this fantasy life, and it was a complete dream. And from the outside, I mean, yes, it was a huge accomplishment, and it looked so amazing, and it was amazing. But I mean, we wrapped, I was on productions after wrap, and came home, and I was so, so devastated because I was just so heartbroken that it was over, and I think, like, it sounds so dramatic now, but I remember I was, like, talking to someone, and I was like, "I just feel like I don't have purpose anymore," because I was, like, waking up and going to set every day, and it was everything, and then I had nothing, like, lined up, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm never gonna work again, like, what if I never have that feeling ever again or that experience?" Like, that was it for me, and that sucked. It was really hard. I was really I was really, really sad, but I had to just start putting in the work again and go back to class, and inevitably I had to get another survival job. So I went from shooting this awesome, crazy show, making more money I'd ever made before in my life, to working at Starbucks and like serving coffee to people who kind of were assholes sometimes. But I think that having to go through like the aftermath of filming, I think it was probably even more important for me to go through that than to film in the first place, if that makes sense.
Mhm,
I think I learned a lot about myself and just the reality of this career.
mhm. How long it took you for kind of get back on your feet?
Like, at least like a year.
God
I
damn,
was
I'm sorry.
I was no, like, goddamn, I was like a mess. It took me a while. It took me probably like a solid year to be like back, like feeling like good. But the first couple months were rough. Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. That's great though.
I mean, I get it, it's like whenever you are having the best time of your life and putting it together with something you're passionate about for some time now and knowing that, it's over now, I can yeah, I can understand that it feels sad and you feel kind of a little bit on the uncertainty of what am I gonna do now? You know what I mean? And if you think about it, I mean, I'm super sure there's actors out there, for longer TV shows who have like 15 season or like really long ones. And I'm pretty sure that after that they're like, what am I gonna do now? You know what I mean? Like I got stuck with this character for years now, and now, so yeah, I understand. But at the same time, it's good that you were able to kind of push through it and be like, okay, I'm gonna be returning to the real me, find a job, and then eventually things are gonna be back, which they are right now. So sometimes I do think that it's kind of those lessons that life might be throwing at us. Which, yeah, sure, it's a pain, it hurts, but it somehow you laid years on. You were like, okay, maybe it was necessary somehow. You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally necessary. I think everything happens for a reason. I think I was meant to experience that for sure. and I'm a better person because of it, you know? And now I know. Now I know when I take that into every project I do now, that it just is what it is.
Yeah.
That's just the experience.
Plus, you became badass, so I get it. You know, I have this vibe now. Like, okay, totally,
Thank you.
totally. Now, 4 hour halftime show, 90 second speedrun question, super simple. Yes, no, I'm gonna ask a couple of questions in which you can only answer yes, no, or pass.
Copy that.
You ready?
Ready.
Have you ever waited weeks for an answer that took seconds to say no?
Yes.
Have you memorized scenes that never made it past the audition room?
Yes.
Have you ever been told you were perfect, but still not right?
Yes.
Have you learned to live with uncertainty better than most people you know?
Yes.
Have you celebrated a win that looked very small to everyone else?
Absolutely, yes.
Have you questioned your entire path while still loving the craft? Have you learned to separate rejection from self worth?
I'm gonna say a solid 93% yes.
Okay, okay. Do you think actors develop patience faster than most people?
Yes.
Has acting taught you more about yourself than success did?
Yes.
And do you believe this journey has made you stronger in quiet ways?
Yes.
Now, moving on, back to our regular transmission. Tell me, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about actors?
That it's easy. I don't know, I think that if you don't know the industry or the art, I think it can be very, like, from the outside looking in, it can look really, like, just like a dream and luxurious, I guess, but it's not always like that, and I think especially, like, especially, like, starting out and being on some more, like, super, low budget or just, like, really or even just, like, it could be a great budget, but just a rough set. You gotta go through a lot of shit. I mean, you have to show up. It doesn't matter what's going on in your personal life. You need to show up and you need to do your job and put yourself in this headspace and this like this existence of a character. And sometimes there's really, heavy content or really heavy scenes and to go to like a really dark place and then be able to get yourself back out of it and still go home and feed your cat. Like it can be a lot sometimes for sure. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful art. It's a privilege to be able to do it, but it can be really, like, difficult sometimes.
Is there like a process or activity or ritual perhaps that you usually do after shooting a heavy scene to kind of return to be the real you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually something that I learned from my acting coach, Kimberly Jensen, and, it's like a lightness and ease thing, so it's kinda like a meditation, but I find it really helpful in, like, grounding myself, either before a scene to get somewhere or after a scene for sure, but like take deep breaths and then you take yourself on this like a visual journey. So a lot of times like I'll take myself to the beach because that's a place that's I find really calming for myself. And it just helps me to reconnect like just in my body and in myself and then I can separate the experience I just had as a character from the experience I'm having as Emily in real life.
What has been kind of the most heavy scene you have shooted so far?
I think I've shot a lot of heavy scenes, but I think one that really does stand out for me, it was, this is, I guess, kind of like a trigger warning, but I've shot actually like a couple of these, but like an attempted suicide. And that's definitely that's a topic for me that I take very, very seriously. And I think like we all should, because I mean everybody knows someone or has an experience personally. It's very real and it's something that needs to very much be respected. And I think it's something that I personally for me, I don't feel good doing a scene like that unless I feel like I do it genuinely and I give it the respect and the honesty that it deserves. So going to a headspace like that, I had this one where I was like over like on it looked like I was on the edge of like a cliff and it was actually pretty high up, I was still safe like that, but to like look down and be like feel that, oh fuck, it was that scene really, like, kinda took it out of me. I was like, "I really gotta get out of this. That was a lot," but it came out beautifully, and it was really well received for how we brought it to life. So, that was a win for sure. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot that times.
that's like more badass. You just keep going.
Just getting badass points over here, you know.
Absolutely. What inner battle do you still face today that people might not see?
It is really, really hard to be under the constant scrutiny of a camera. I was on a project and, it was somewhat recently, but I was it was that went down the grapevine to me about, like, 2 days before production, I think, started shooting, that I was being asked by, like, the client to practice weight management so as to not make my male co-star look too skinny on camera. To which I responded very politely. I said, "I will not be losing weight for this production, especially not 2 days before we start shooting, but I can assure you I will continue eating healthy as I do, and I will continue my daily gym routine as I do." And I really tried to handle it with dignity and grace, but it, like, oh, that just destroyed me, and it was so hard to show up to set after that. And anytime I was like I would see people, like, talking, my brain, of course, is like the little voice in my brain is like, "Oh, they're talking about you, like, they're calling you fat, they think you're fat, they're, like, mad that they cast you because 'cause you're too fat for this role." And, like, and that's probably not what was happening at all, but it's that voice in my head that goes there because, I mean, I in the past, I would stop eating for a plethora of reasons, like, but I've stopped eating for roles in the past. I mean, I still remember being, like, 14 and I was modeling, and some girl that I didn't even know, who didn't even matter, told me I was too fat to be a model, and that fucked me up so bad. And I spent so, so, so much time in my life, like, hating my body and hating how I looked and just being so brutal to myself. And healing from that is such a bitch of a process. And it's definitely something I still struggle with today. So when you're told to, like, suck your stomach in on camera, it's hard to just let that go, but you have to, and you have to be present for yourself in the scene and be present for your scene partner because you have to do that. But it's hard sometimes. It's very hard to just be on camera all the time, and it's rough. It can be really
Mhm.
rough.
And do you think whenever we're having like kind of those moments, somehow we are kind of sabotaging ourselves? Like perhaps our brain is sabotaging us, or like my question here is like why? Yeah, like what do you think that happened? Whenever
I
we started to have like these opinions, right? That they may be talking about me, or you know what I mean, and suddenly you construct this whole story on something that is not even true.
Right. I think it's fear. I think, I think fear definitely exists, and I think that that's where that little voice comes from, it's no matter how secure you might be as a person, I think we all have some semblance of insecurity and some semblance of fear, and maybe it's a different, like, trigger for, every individual, but I think it is definitely, like, a form of, like, a self-sabotage thing, and it's something to be aware of and something to, again, like, recognize it and be like, "Oh, no, like, I'm sabotaging myself right now." And, like, not being a sponge to your environment, I've realized the importance of that too because it can get so chaotic, and if people are, like, in a bad mood or there's just things going wrong on set or honestly in life, to suck in all that negative energy, I think that absolutely fuels it too, you know? And then I'm like, "Oh, they're mad," and then it's like, they must be mad because about me and I'm doing something wrong, but it probably has nothing to do with me. So, yeah, I think it's definitely it stems from fear for sure.
Plus, I sometimes think that if they did, they're gonna be telling you that.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're
Talk to
gonna
me.
know eventually. It'd be like, okay, I get it now. So yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. As your definition of success has evolved, what matters more now than booking the role?
Being happy. Just being happy. I think I know acting brings me so much joy and so much happiness, but there's so many other things in this world too that bring me happiness, and I think I've realized I really have to prioritize that too, like my own personal well-being and waking up every day feeling good or as good as I possibly can. Because that's, we don't always wake up feeling good, but what can I do to make this day a good day? Whether or not acting is happening that day, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Now, what motivates you? We all have those days that basically we just want to quit. It's inevitable, happens to all of us. So how you stay positive on one of those days?
I think for me, I'm able to stay positive and find my motivation by reconnecting with what inspires me in the first place. I mean, I can have a terrible, terrible day on set for some reason, but I'm like, okay, let's again, it's like a mindset thing. Like, well, let me think about this. I just had an awful day, but look at me. I went to set today. That's really cool. I think no, here's my real answer. I just found it. I every time I like don't feel good about like acting or whatever, I'm not motivated. I think back to my little child self and I'm like, what would she think right now though? You know? Or I'm like, think back to the first time that I like did a monologue and I was like, whoa, no, I want to be an actor. And I'm an actor now. And that's awesome. What would she think right now? She would be so, so proud of me for everything I've done and everything I'm doing. So even if I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm not where I want to be, like things aren't going how I thought they would go, I'm like, but look what you're doing. Like that's crazy. I think I try to take it out of myself and reflect on younger versions of myself and think about what they would tell me if they were looking at me.
I like it. Yeah, I do think it's important to have those communications with our younger selves.
Yeah.
Sure, because it can actually help you to realize how much work you have put through. It's so
Mm.
interesting because sometimes I was talking about this yesterday. The fact that it's interesting how sometimes we focus more on what we don't have instead of actually focusing on what we have. And what we have, suddenly we take it as granted instead of actually being grateful because it was from our work that we have this. And I'm not talking about material stuff, but more lessons, like more internal stuff that actually has shaped you to be where you are right now. You know what I mean?
1000%. Yeah.
Years from now, what truth about your acting journey do you hope people truly understand?
I hope that years from now, people understand that I I haven't reached my final form, and I hope that I never do. I think to continue growing and discovering and experiencing is one of the greatest gifts of being a human being and being alive. And I hope that never stops.
Gonna drop the mic because you're killing it here. See,
I know that was like really good, right?
out of 10 for sure.
Someone put that on a t-shirt or something.
Who knows? Maybe that's the next Chat with N franchise. I'm hinting it. Maybe. Who knows?
I guess
Alright.
we'll find out.
And my last question here, so we can all enjoy and relax after an epic chat here. So, what do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Oh God. Mm, the best title for this episode? Something like it's all in the human experience. It's all because I think that's a repeat thing for me. It's like it's all experience. It's all like,
That could be a title. It's all experience.
it's all experience. Yeah, it's all experience.
There you go.
There
I
we
mean,
go.
it sounds like a franchise to me. Who knows? Maybe we're writing your next for your biopic or biobook. We have the title here already. Who knows?
Bingo. It's all experience.
There you And I mean, at the end, what can I say? I love the fact you are pursuing this. That I love the fact you're making this happen because you're not also creating cool content. You're also showing us between the lines that dreams are possible. And I think that is super positive and super powerful. And I think positivity, like from what you do, is something we need right now, especially in this crazy, messed up world we currently live right now. The fact that we can rely on you, it's amazing. And now I discover what you're bad at. So there you go.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. So thank you, and thank you so much for this experience. It's always been like really scary for me to be like in front of a camera without a script in my hand. But thank you. You made this really comfortable, and it's honestly it's an honor to get to talk as myself and not as a character. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and
Absolutely.
this means a lot to me. So thank you so much.
Thank you for making this happen. And I know that there's gonna be sometimes, days or moments in which you're not gonna feel enough. But trust me, you are, because as I said here, you're actually showing dreams are possible, and it's from people like you that I just love keep talking with, because this type of messages is something that we currently like we do need right now. We are so much of hate and anger and so negative stuff around, and you guys showing us, besides creating cool characters, cool stories for us to laugh, cry, whatever, you're also showing that, and I think that's super cool and powerful. And people should be recognized that more, to be like, hey, if they're doing it, I can do whatever. I can pursue what my passion is, regardless if it is acting, music, like whatever it is. You know what I mean? So
yeah, life is too short to live in fear of pursuing the things that bring us passion and happiness.
there you go. So I want to thank you so much for making this happen. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Now, by this point, come on. We should have discovered why Emily's super badass. So let's follow her. Let's share some love. Hashtag Team Emily. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there. Keep kicking ass. And I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one.
Thank you so much. This was amazing. Thank you.
All right.